The night turned into a war zone, bullets flying, panic everywhere, and a lone gunman holding an entire apartment complex hostage in a terrifying 8-tower standoff. It's midnight at the Shady Oaks apartment complex. The night is quiet, and most of the residents are already inside their apartments. A man walks across the parking lot toward his building, unaware that someone is watching from the darkness. Without warning, a gunshot breaks the silence. The man collapses after being struck by a bullet fired from somewhere inside the complex. No one nearby can see the shooter, and no one knows where the shot came from. Within minutes, police begin receiving emergency calls reporting gunfire at Shady Oaks. Officers are dispatched immediately, expecting a routine disturbance. But the situation turns dangerous before the first unit even arrives. More shots ring out, this time aimed at anyone moving near the building. Whoever is firing isn't trying to escape. They're staying inside, waiting. At approximately 2:17 a.m., officers are sent to investigate the reports of gunshots near the front side of the apartment complex. Just a few minutes later, first responder officer Cody Needham drives into the parking lot to check the scene. He has no idea the original shots may have been used to lure police in, and his patrol car moves closer to the building. Several loud cracks echo through the night. Bullets strike the ground nearby, then one of them hits him. Needham immediately grabs his radio. His voice tense as he calls dispatch and reports that he thinks he's been shot. He begins driving away from the complex, heading straight for the hospital while asking dispatch to alert the emergency room. Behind him, more gunfire continues from the direction of Shady Oaks. Within seconds, the call changes from a disturbance to an active shooter. Backup units are sent from every direction, and officers begin setting up a perimeter around the building, trying to keep anyone else from getting close. But the danger is already spreading. Residents inside the complex still don't know what's happening. Some are outside in the parking lot. Some are near the entrances. Others are standing by their windows trying to see what the noise was. Every one of them is exposed. While Officer Needham is rushed into the emergency room, more police units arrive at Shady Oaks, including Officer Christopher Deason, who pulls up just as another round of gunfire erupts from the building. The shots sound like they're coming from above ground level, but nobody can tell exactly which apartment. Officers dive behind cover near a small pump house on the west side of the lot, trying to stay out of sight while they scan the building. The shooter has the advantage. He's hidden somewhere inside the complex, and he can see anyone who steps into the open. At this point, police don't know if they're dealing with one gunman or several. They don't know what floor the shots are coming from, and they don't know if anyone else has already been hit. All they know is that someone inside the building is firing at anyone they see, and the longer it takes to find him, the more dangerous the situation becomes. Moments later, movement is spotted near the back of the building. A figure suddenly runs across the lot, disappearing into the shadows before officers can react. For a split second, it's unclear whether this is the shooter or another victim trying to escape. The uncertainty only makes things worse. More gunfire erupts from the front of the complex, echoing through the night. Officers stay behind cover, trying to track the direction of each shot, but the sound bounces off the buildings, making it nearly impossible to pinpoint. Then another shot rings out. This time, it hits someone, a resident who had stepped outside, completely unaware of what was happening, struck and forced to run for cover. Just like that, there is now another confirmed victim. The reality sets in quickly. This isn't random gunfire. Whoever is inside that building is deliberately targeting anyone they see. With the danger escalating, officers shift their focus to two critical priorities: find the shooter and get civilians out of the area before more people are hit. But there's a major problem. They still don't have access to the building. Without a key, there's no safe way to move inside and evacuate the residents. And forcing entry blindly could put officers directly in the shooter's line of sight. So instead, they split into two groups. One team stays behind cover, maintaining pressure and watching for any movement, hoping to identify exactly where the shots are coming from. The second team begins moving carefully around the perimeter, warning anyone they find and pulling them away from danger. Every step is slow, Every movement is calculated, because at any moment, another shot could be fired. As officers sweep along the west side of the complex, they begin encountering residents who have no idea how close they are to being killed. Some are confused, some are panicked, others don't even believe what's happening. But all of them are exposed. One by one, officers direct them away from the building, keeping their hands visible and treating every encounter with caution, because at this point, anyone could be a suspect. As the evacuation continues, another resident suddenly appears from behind the building. He's injured. He struggles to move, clearly in pain, as officers rush to help him. He tells them he was just walking out of the building when he was shot. And like the others, he has no idea who fired the bullet. Now there are multiple victims. And still, no clear sight of the shooter. The situation is slipping further out of control. Officers know time is against them, because every second the shooter remains hidden is another chance for someone else to get hurt. Because every second the shooter remains hidden is another chance for someone else to get hurt. And then things get even worse. Despite the chaos, not everyone knows what's happening. Just beyond the perimeter, traffic is still moving. A civilian vehicle approaches the complex, headlights cutting through the darkness as it drives straight toward the danger zone. Officers spot it immediately. They begin shouting, trying to warn the driver to turn around. But it's too late. Gunfire erupts again. Multiple shots ring out in rapid succession, this time aimed directly at the moving vehicle. The sound echoes across the street as bullets strike near the car. Inside, the driver has no idea where the shots are coming from. Instinct takes over. Instead of stopping, the driver speeds forward, trying to escape the area. Miraculously, the vehicle makes it through without being hit. But the danger is far from over. Just minutes later, another set of headlights appears in the distance. Another car, heading straight toward the same stretch of road. This time the shooter is ready. As the vehicle passes the front of the complex, shots are fired again. Louder, faster, more controlled. This time one of them hits. The bullet strikes the driver. Despite being wounded, he keeps the car moving, pushing forward until he reaches the west side of the complex, closer to where officers are positioned. The vehicle finally slows to a stop. Then, the screaming starts. Officers rush toward the car, staying low as they move, aware that the shooter could fire again at any moment. The driver is bleeding heavily from his leg. They quickly pull him out and apply a tourniquet, tightening it to stop the blood loss. He's in pain, disoriented, but still conscious. He tells them his girlfriend is still inside the vehicle, even after the shooting. And until the shooter is found, no one is safe. Moments later, officers finally manage to shut down the surrounding roads, blocking off access to the complex and preventing any more civilians from unknowingly driving into the line of fire. For the first time since the shooting began, the chaos starts to slow. Then suddenly, silence. The gunfire stops. No shots, no movement, nothing. Officers remain in position, weapons ready, scanning the building from behind cover. But the silence isn't reassuring. It's worse, because now they don't know what the shooter is doing. Is he reloading? Moving to another apartment? Watching them? Or waiting for the next target? The uncertainty creates a new kind of tension. Every shadow feels like a threat. Every window becomes a possible hiding place. Minutes pass, but no one dares to move too far into the open. Then slowly the situation begins to shift. Additional units arrive on scene, bringing heavier equipment and more manpower. Among them, SWAT. At approximately 4 a.m., armored vehicles roll into position on the opposite side of the complex. For the first time, officers have the resources needed to push forward. This is the turning point. With the perimeter now secured and reinforcements in place, teams begin coordinating their next move. The objective is clear: locate the shooter and take control of the building. But it won't be easy. The suspect is still somewhere inside, possibly armed with a high-powered rifle, and has already shown a willingness to shoot at anyone in sight. The direct entry without a plan could be deadly, so instead they move carefully, step by step. SWAT teams begin organizing into entry units. while others maintain positions around the perimeter, ensuring there is no way in and no way out. At the same time, officers start evacuating residents from the lower levels of the building. Door by door, they move through the ground floor, guiding people out as quietly and quickly as possible. Some residents are shaken, some are confused, others are terrified. Many of them had no idea how close they were to the gunfire. But now the reality is impossible to ignore. Outside, snipers begin taking positions on the east side of the complex, setting up lines of sight toward the building. Every window is watched. Every movement is tracked. Hours pass as teams continue clearing sections of the building, slowly tightening control over the situation. And then, as the sky begins to lighten, they gain their biggest advantage yet: daylight. With visibility improving, officers deploy drones overhead, giving them a clear view of the structure from above. For the first time, they might finally be able to see him. For the first time, they might finally be able to see him. As the drone lifts into the air, the entire complex comes into view. From the ground, everything had been chaos. But from above, things start to make sense. Rows of identical windows, dark hallways, silent balconies. Somewhere in there is the shooter. Officers watch the live feed in complete focus, scanning every inch of the building. Seconds pass. Nothing. Then, movement. It's quick, almost invisible. A shadow shifts behind a window on an upper floor. The drone operator pauses, then slowly repositions. Zooming in. There, a figure, standing just behind the glass. Still, watching. For a moment, everything freezes. After hours of confusion, they finally have a location. Radio chatter spikes instantly as officers on the ground are updated. All units redirect their attention toward that side of the building. Snipers adjust their positions, lining up angles toward the window. Every second now feels heavier. Inside the apartment, the suspect doesn't move much. He stays near the window, just out of full view. Like he knows exactly where to stand. Like he's been waiting. Then, suddenly, he steps closer, just enough for his face to become visible. Young, focused, not panicked. He's not trying to escape. He's watching them, studying them, and that changes everything. Because this isn't someone acting out of fear. This is someone in control. Outside, officers hold their positions, waiting for a clear opportunity. But the window gives him protection, and any wrong move could trigger more gunfire. Then, another sudden movement. The suspect raises something, a weapon, before anyone can react. A shot explodes from the apartment. The drone jerks violently. The screen shakes. Static fills the feed for a split second. Then it cuts. The drone is gone. Silence hits again. But this time it feels different. He didn't fire randomly. He aimed. He saw it, tracked it, and destroyed it. Which means one thing. He knows exactly what he's doing. And now he knows they're watching. Now the situation shifts. After the drone is taken out, officers know they're no longer dealing with random gunfire. The shooter is aware of surveillance and responding to it. That means he's thinking ahead. Outside, all units stay locked onto the identified apartment. Snipers hold position, watch in the window. No movement, no shots, just silence. And that silence creates pressure, because now they don't know what he's planning. Minutes pass. Then nearly an hour. Nothing changes. At this point, Command decides to try a different approach. Negotiators are brought in. From a protected position, they begin calling out to the suspect, telling him to come out peacefully, giving clear instructions. No threats, just a way out. For a moment, it feels like there might be a response. But nothing comes. No movement inside. No voice. No signal. Then, a single shot is fired from the apartment, not aimed at anyone, just enough to say one thing. The armored vehicle moves up, its heavy tires crushing gravel underfoot. Officers behind it hold their positions, weapons ready, eyes locked on the apartment. Tear gas canisters are prepped. The plan is simple: saturate the room, flush the shooter out, and contain him before he can fire again. Gas hisses through the canisters, filling the apartment with a dense cloud. Seconds stretch into eternity. A movement. The shooter approaches the window, towel pressed against his face, coughing, eyes wild. Snipers hold their aim, finger on the trigger, waiting for the perfect moment. He hesitates, weighing his options. Then, in a flash, a single precise shot shatters the window just above him. Shards of glass spray outward, startling him. He drops the towel and stumbles back, disoriented. SWAT entry teams move instantly, breaching the door, clearing the smoke, securing every corner. Officers shout commands, guiding the suspect to the floor. Devin Matthew Wayland, barely out of his teens, is now in custody, wounded but alive. Inside they find rifles, ammunition, and evidence confirming he was alone. The danger, finally, is over. Outside, the sun rises over Shady Oaks, casting light on exhausted officers and relieved residents. The standoff lasted hours, but strategy, patience, and precision prevented further casualties. Every decision, every move, every second mattered. Lives hung in the balance. And now, after chaos and terror, order is restored. The dust settles. Shady Oaks is quiet now, but the tension lingers in the air. Officers move methodically through the complex, clearing apartments, checking every corner. Each door opened, each hallway scanned, reminds them of how close disaster came. Residents shaken began emerging, faces pale, voices trembling. Some hugged neighbors, some collapsed to the ground, relief and fear mingling. Devin Matthew Wayland is escorted out, handcuffed, silent, his expression a mix of fear and defiance. Evidence collected from his apartment paints a chilling picture. Rifles, ammunition, and a plan meticulously executed, yet ultimately foiled. Command officers debrief teams, praising quick thinking and coordination that prevented more deaths. Forensics begin documenting every detail, capturing images, taking notes, reconstructing what could have been a massacre. News crews gather outside, lights flashing, microphones capturing the first statements. But officers remain focused on safety first. Slowly, families are reunited, some shaken, others injured, all aware that survival was a matter of seconds and choices. By midday, the building is secured, civilians evacuated, and the shooter in custody. The standoff lasted more than 8 hours, but in the end, strategy, courage, and coordination turned what could have been tragedy into a story of survival. Shady Oaks will never forget the night of terror, and neither will the officers who risked everything to protect lives. Every step, every shot, every decision mattered, and now, in the calm after chaos, the magnitude of their bravery is clear.